make decisions as a consensus, where everybody agrees and everybody comes together and makes all comfortable with. And to also raise concerns, plan, do all kinds of things that we need to come together and do as a group. So this is our first one. We're kind of winging it, you know, we're just kind of a new group, so kind of bear with us as we move along. And I apologize for the little bit of the traffic noise. And let us know if you have trouble hearing or if you need us to speak up. So we're going to start by going over a little bit of what the consensus process is and what sort of this process is all about. The consensus process usually starts with a proposal or a problem. So somebody comes up with, say, a goal or a problem that we need to solve. The first proposal that we might be looking at here might be something to do with nonviolence, or how we want to approach nonviolence, or basic principles that we want to adopt and we want to then communicate outside of our group. And then we have an opportunity to discuss that proposal or that issue as a group. And as part of this, we're going to be using some different hand signals. And maybe you can help me by demonstrating some of the hand signals?
Okay. There are 4 or 5 basic hand signals that you guys need to learn. Pretty straightforward. This is how we communicate during the consensus process. The first signal I want to talk about is the hard block. That is indicated by making an X, like this, in the air. The hard block is not a no vote. The hard block blocks consensus so that we do not have an agreement. It is something that you have to take very seriously and use very sparingly because it will torpedo the consensus process. It is only to be used when you feel a proposal is about to threaten the movement in a systemic way. If you object to something, but you don't want to torpedo the whole process by issuing a hard block, you can show your discontent or your disagreement with something by waving your hand over your face. This means I do not agree, but I am not going to use my hard block.
This is also called the stand aside.
Yeah.
So I'm willing to stand aside and let the group go forward, even though I might have some objections.
Now, for agreement, you can put your wave your hands in the air, twiddle your fingers. I think they're doing it like this in New York, or like this in LA, however you want to do it.
They're doing it like this for disagree and this for agree.
Okay.
That's what
All right.
they're doing now.
Okay. Okay. Let's see. Okay. If somebody is taking too long, does not have clarity with their point, is being disrespectful or oppressive to another person, or is just basically not communicating well, you can do this. This means wrap it up, okay? And if somebody continues to drone on, the shadow moderator, I'm acting as the shadow moderator today, will jump in, wrap that person's point up, and move on to the next point. The shadow moderator operates as a kind of a backup to the facilitator, so that the facilitator can move the meeting along, and the backup moderator can sort of handle any problems that are, the shadow moderator can handle any problems that arise. And keep in mind, okay, go ahead.
So one of the reasons why we're using a consensus process is that we're using the same kind of horizontal democratic process that's been adopted by Occupy Wall Street and some of the other Occupy movements that are going on across the country. And a horizontal democratic process means everybody is involved. There is no hierarchy of leadership. There's no one person has more power or control than anyone else. It's a horizontal process. Everyone's on the same level. And that's what a consensus process gives us. One individual who has a serious concern can block that consensus. So that the minority and the majority.
more sign I forgot. That's why I raised my fingers like this in the air. This indicates you have a question. If you're not understanding something that's happening, you can raise your hand in the air and we can stop and clarify things.
Perfect. So, and one of the other important parts of the horizontal democratic process is as we continue to have these GAs, these General Assemblies and these different meetings, we'll be rotating these different roles. So I'm not going to be the facilitator that you see every meeting. Jesse's not going to be the shadow moderator that you see. We're going to be rotating these around so everyone has an opportunity to take the different sort of moderately leadership roles and to take various points in this group. And as to the point that everybody wants to take that role. So one of the first things that we wanted to talk about in terms of sort of deciding in the direction that we want to go and beginning to adopt some of the principles of what Occupy Temecula means is to take a look at what Occupy Wall Street has adopted as their principles of solidarity. So I'm going to go ahead and read these out. And feel free to let us know if you want me to stop or repeat anything if you can't hear these.
And I have a copy I'll pass around.
Great.
Copy.
Number 1, engaging in direct and transparent participatory democracy. Number 2, exercising personal and collective responsibility. Number 3, recognizing individuals' inherent privilege and the influence it has on all interactions. Number 4, empowering one another against all forms of oppression. Number 5, redefining how our labor is valued. Number 6, the sanctity of individual privacy. Number 7, the belief that education is a human right. And number 8, endeavoring to practice and support wide application of open source. So at this point, I think we'd like to have a discussion of whether... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Could you give quick detail on number 8?
Number 8.
Explain it. I think it's open source.
I think basically there may be some technical details about handling things. I think it means just to keep the processes open and public to everybody. Right. But there may be some further transparency. There may be some further technical details about how.
Yeah, and I think in a more specific way, it probably also implies that using open source technologies whenever technology is effective.
That's right.
Yeah.
This was decided on at one of the GAs in New York. So this does not necessarily have to be our list. This is their list. We're a solidarity movement with them, but we do have autonomy to decide what we want to do within our own group.
Absolutely. So this is the point where we get to decide, do we want to take a look at this? Do we want to adopt any of these? Do we want to change any of them? Do we want to just say, that's nice, and move on? And now we can kind of open it up to discussion in terms of how people think.
Through the stack taker. So if you want to talk, do the stack taker.
If you'd like to
Stack taker right here.
add your name to the list, put in a proposal in terms of the principles of solidarity. Give your name to all right here.
You can identify the stack taker. They have black tape on their arms. And the stack taker will handle any kind of communication that you want to give to the group. Whether you want to form a committee, whether you want to make a proposal, whether you just want to speak openly to the group, all of this can be done by putting your name on the list with the stack taker. Questions? Okay, I'm going to read the principles of solidarity as decided by the New York Occupy Wall Street. Again, these are working principles they reserve the right to alter, update, add to them in any of their GAs. We have the option of accepting these, using them as guidelines, making them our own principles, and modifying them as in any way. We are a solidarity group, but we maintain autonomy within our group. So here are the principles as decided by the New York chapter. These are principles of solidarity. Number 1, engaging in direct and transparent participatory democracy. Does anybody need to speak to that? Okay. Exercising personal and collective responsibility. We have both personal responsibility and collective responsibility in this group. Okay? Number 3, recognizing individuals' inherent privilege and the influence it has on all interactions. Everybody is empowered here. Number 4, empowering one another against all forms of oppression. We all face oppression in our lives in varying degrees. We should respect that and empower each other. Redefining how our labor is valued. Number 6, the sanctity of individual privacy. Number 7, the belief that education is a human right. Number 8, endeavoring to practice and support wide application of open source.
Because that peacefulness, and I don't know if that's supposed to go in here or not, but that peacefulness is going to give us the power. Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, and we'll be covering that in a little bit too, definitely.
Okay, looks like we have consensus on peace. We are going to have a nonviolence proposal later,
Okay.
so we will be able to instruct a consensus around nonviolence. Hopefully, at the end of the day. Okay, so for now, did we want to vote on any of the, or did we want to come to consensus
Is
on?
there anyone else who wants to comment on the principles of solidarity?
Yeah,
That's my first. Some of it's hard to understand the way it's written.
Sure.
Sure. Yeah.
Proposal, a nonviolence
Right.
proposal.
Yeah.
Maybe nonviolence deserves its own.
Right.
Its own
Right.
standard
Right.
regulation. But okay, so you're feeling like the group is probably not ready to come to consensus on the principles of solidarity right now, in terms of adopting them as our own.
Or just that they, can I restate what you said as they just need to be written more simply?
I think so.
Okay.
Okay.
So maybe we could consider these principles, and
And
then
then
at our next GA, have some proposals from people for setting up our own principles of solidarity.
More simply worded?
And right, and then I certainly want to adapt that. I want to be in solidarity, but we can add to it, right?
Yeah.
We don't want to add too much because it's
Sure.
be overwhelming.
So, yeah. So that, but the, I mean, is there, go ahead.
I think it's fantastic. It's a really good foundation. I've seen more detail on other sites, but simple is better. And I just think if we go with this, we can just like do it as a just as a proposed working model until the next meeting is how we'd like to improve upon it and go from there, because I really am really cautious about, I want to make sure it's a non-violent, I just don't want to deal with that. But I want to be heard, and I really appreciate it.
I just thought the principles are a good foundation for us right now, as long as we can build upon them and maybe build something with peace into, like, make a number 9 with peace in there. I was going to go back to the and adding that peace sentence in there. And even, it doesn't mean we can go beyond nonviolence, where we shouldn't even acknowledge when people say bad remarks to us. We shouldn't even acknowledge that person, or even saying something bad can be violent. I think we shouldn't even do that. We should just look the other way and just keep it totally peaceful.
So it sounds like we have basically a consensus on taking the week for people to think about how we want to rewrite these, and taking proposals for the principles of solidarity at a GA next week. So can we see a show of...
So we have consensus on that. Question?
Yes.
Comment. Maybe it would be some help to post some of this stuff online and have some interaction, over the week.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
In fact, I set up a second Facebook group, Occupy Temecula discussion group. This opens up a whole can of worms. I don't know that we want to talk about this right now. But I thought we could segregate our general discussion from the business of Occupy Wall Street, or Occupy Temecula. So that things that we cover at the GA, things about process, things that we've decided as a group are in one forum, and that our general discussion is in another forum. Yes.
Yes.
Just want to point out that on the Facebook group, there is a spot on there for documents that we could use on things that we do come to consensus on. That way we all have somewhere visible that we can go to any time to view what we all agree on.
So we have a proposal to post our decisions in document form on the Facebook page, Occupy Temecula. Do we have consensus on that? Okay.
Perfect. Will that be like in the form of minutes, kind of like on your document?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
At the top it says
We'll put the minutes up there too.
That's where I went right away.
Yeah. Great. Fantastic. Okay, move to number...
Okay, so let's decide about that next week, right?
Alright, so the next thing we would like to cover in sort of the order that we came into this meeting going with is to come up with a sort of a proposal, a nonviolence proposal, something that we can all come to a consensus on in terms of how we as a group want to behave in terms of violence and nonviolence and peacefulness, similar to what we've already been talking about. And one of the things we'd like everybody to consider as we're talking about this is a couple of different kinds of violence and ways in which we relate to our environment. It's violence between us and people outside of the group, between us and people inside of the group, between us and private property, us and public property. And also in this, I'd like to also include things like, making sure that the environment that we're in and that we're demonstrating in is as clean as it was when we came in. So I know that, making sure that we pick up all the trash, including cigarette butts, that we keep track of recycling, that we keep track of our signs, making sure stuff doesn't blow into the street. All of those things, in addition to the stuff that comes sort of in a traditional way under nonviolence. So, that's kind of my introduction.
Yeah. So, it seemed like everybody was agreeing that we should have nonviolence as one of the tenets of our group. I guess maybe we should take a consensus on that. Do we all agree that we should all be nonviolent and that this should be one of the tenets of Occupy Temecula? Okay.
All right.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
As far as nonviolence goes, there's an awful lot about nonviolence. When you're being beat by a stick or something like that, it's a whole different thing than not starting violence. And I really think that most of us probably don't have any experience very little experience with real violence, and we really probably need some kind of training or some kind of,
I think that's a very good point.
So, that's a good idea would be for us to maybe have a group or a workshop dedicated to dealing with violence when you face it, how to practice nonviolence effectively, and maybe, we are going to form groups and committees, and maybe that would be a topic that's large enough that it needs a committee to address it. So I'm not sure we're going to get to forming committees today, depending on how much we get covered. But for sure, that should be maybe one of the first committees we consider when we get to the point of forming committees.
I just wanted to also say, like, the way we conduct ourselves here should also be the way we conduct ourselves outside of here. Because I've had people, even at my work, try to confront me and try to get me angry about what we're doing. And we have to remember that we can't even even outside of here, that we have to remain calm and try to be collected and try not to bring a negative attention to ourselves.
I would just like to add a comment to that whole entire idea of how we interact with others. I think you need people who are screaming, get a job, cut your hair. They want negative reactions from us. They feed off of that. That's what the whole thing is. So you can't give it to them. You can't. You have to. If they're screaming at you, smile and wave back. Don't swear at them. Don't flip them off. Don't get into a shouting match. You're not going to do anything because there's no big corporate banks here. You know, this is a fight to just get the word out to other people. That's what we're here for. That's what I'm here for. And so the best way to win them over is not to get in a shouting match with them. That's not going to do anybody any good. Like, what we need to do is just honestly remember the fact that we have an objective. The best way to reach that objective is to fight any kind of stupid, like, arguments or screaming and yelling with rational, thoughtful discussion, articulated in a way that just makes it better. You know, that's the way we need to do it.
Can I give an example of what happened last week? I don't know how many people here today were here last week, but there was one particular young woman that passed by. She was not driving, she was a passenger in a car, and some of you might remember she started screaming and yelling out at us, very angrily, very violent, wishing us dead, using language I don't really want to repeat in front of children, and she was very, I was so glad she didn't have a gun, and but everybody around us, all this group, I was so proud of everybody, whoever was here, I don't remember, but they all just did this, and they all just, I was so glad. It was just perfect. It made her angrier. She just kept on. But still, she just, did that. So I was you guys
Also, I just have one quick point to say on that, is we will get people that will try to provoke us, and trolls, and people that want to co-opt this thing, and that is going to be their main strategy, is to try to incite reaction out of you. We have to be prepared for that and have a plan to deal with it, because it's hard to deal with. It's not easy. People might infiltrate the Facebook group and try to blow it up. People could show up with 40 people next Saturday and try and bust us up. We don't know what's going to happen. That's one of the reasons we need our principles of solidarity firmed up, is because we are in solidarity together, and we are in solidarity with the people of Wall Street. And we need to have a plan, and we need to know how to deal with it when we're attacked.
I have someone that would like to speak.
Yes.
Lynn?
I just want to say that we've got a pretty good group here. We've had people come and go. I come and go all day, so I really have to do today. A lot of people are finding out just, I don't know, word of mouth or Facebook, Googling it. Maybe we want to form a committee. How do we want to get this bigger? How do we want to get it further into this area that we are here established? More people can join us. Maybe are looking for us. Part two of that would be forming any carpools between Wendell Lake today or San Diego today. If anybody else wants to go along, stay in their camper for the day. It's hard to go back and forth everywhere for me, being alone.
Yeah, I feel like the idea of a growth committee in addition to a nonviolence committee would be important so that we can find ways to strengthen the movement. A promotion and growth committee.
So, do we want to start taking suggestions for committees right now? We seem to have some ideas flowing. Do we want to get into that right now?
Let's do this.
Yeah, we'll finish up. We'll finish up the
non-violent.
Add on to the principle.
Yeah, something like that. Okay? Great.
So just to be clear, next week, if you want to, please consider it. Come with specific principles of solidarity, specific ask concerns about nonviolence that you want to put into place in the group, because we will consider them at next week's GA.
Definitely.
And we need people to be prepared with that stuff.
Also, next week, if you're interested in helping out running the GA, get in touch with me or Jesse on Facebook.
Yeah, we'll need a new. We're going to need at minimum a new moderator, a new facilitator, a new stack keeper, and a new person to take the minutes. So at least 4 new people have to participate next week.
Just out of curiosity, in case we get here next week and find our friends are all 4 corners in mass, do we need to stay and, I mean, do we want to have any kind of plan for this?
Question?
I think on that situation, if there's other protesters for political candidates or any other thing that they're protesting, I think it would be better if we didn't try to fight with them, didn't argue with them, no pushing and shoving, no standing in front of their signs. Just ignore them as if they weren't even there. And we leave them alone, I guarantee you they'll leave us alone. And we're basically all on the same team. We're all here supporting the same thing. So there's no reason to get into debates with them or...
No, I think I was just thinking more from just the pure physical...
Right.
Like they come in with signs...
Like those people down there are actually respectful as compared to the people that were here earlier. Because they came up, shook our hands, brought us peace teas. I mean, they're basically on the same side as we were.
So we're not going to worry about it if they're...
We can't do that. All we can control is what we control, right? We can't control.
Yeah, I would like to add on to that point in that really the more people we have, the better it is. Like the numbers game really. And the more people you have, the more attention you get. And even if they're out to support Ron Paul and you sit over here at Ron Paul, well, I'm sure you have something that you do mutually agree on. And even Ron Paul, 99% we're all together. And even if they're not here for the same reason we are, we're still here. And I feel like that will help this movement a lot more than if we try to start parsing differences and creating different camps.
I think I'm looking more at the visual thing. Standing on every corner, you look further over here and the light is going on.
I mean, we can't fight over corners. It's public sidewalk. Everyone has the right to assemble and protest.
If you want to change to the other corner, we can consider that as a proposal. Yeah, I mean, it's shade over there.
Okay, I was just curious.
But yeah, we could try to come to consensus on that at some point.
We just had the
Yeah.
Big fun in there.
I think the main issue I think she was bringing up is that there are a lot of us here who might not align ourselves with Ron Paul supporters, and being on the same corner of them, they have much larger signs than us. If we stand right next to them, it might not be supportive to the movement. People might actually think we're out here supporting Ron Paul and not the 99%. And I think
Let people think whatever they want to think. Not everyone's is bright enough to figure it out.
I was thinking it's counterproductive to the movement. And we need to act on that, I think. If it's going to continue.
Let's
Penalize people who hold signs represent what they believe in.
And if it becomes an issue or becomes a bigger issue next week, we can revisit it in the GA.
Questions?
Just one little comment. Myself, personally, I don't have any problem engaging these folks. For me, there's probably nothing more important than education of the general public. And so a little bit of healthy engaging these folks, I don't think is a bad thing, and I think it's probably good for them. It might also be good for us because it tests us against their point of view as well. So I'm somewhat comfortable with engaging them rather than ignoring them.
So, well, it's kind of about what he was saying. And, like, I agree with him because there's nothing wrong with a peaceful debate, but if things start getting aggressive, just back off and just keep pulling your sign. Yeah.
I did want to make one other announcement. Anyone who's taken pictures today and wants them to be submitted to Temecula Patch for an article on today's demonstration, please come up after the GA and get my contact information. Also, if you'd like to submit a brief write-up of your experiences today to be submitted to Temecula Patch, also please come up and get my contact information after the GA closes.
Because there's a deadline.
Yeah, we'd like to get them submitted today so we can get immediate press.
Temecula Patch is
Temecula Patch is a local online newspaper. They've agreed to publish an article after every demonstration if we can submit content to them.
we have a deadline, so we need it ASAP today.
Yeah.
And Violet will be the contact person.
All right. Does anybody else have comments that they'd like to close up? Anything that didn't get said that you didn't get a chance to say?
Can we maybe meet in the parking lot next week instead of here?
Yeah, that might be a good idea.
Okay. Or maybe on the parking lot or on the inside of the fence.
Inside grass. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, I did have one other announcement to make. We will be communicating via email in addition to the Facebook site. The Facebook site's a pretty limited way for all of us to communicate. So we are going to need a list of everybody's email contacts today. So maybe we could get a volunteer to take emails, and it will be everybody's responsibility before the day is over to give your email to this person if you want to stay in touch with what's going on. And this will include documents that are also going to be posted to the Facebook page, decisions that we make, any pertinent kind of news to Occupy Temecula. We're going to try to communicate by email. And if we all have each other's emails, that'll help us all communicate too. So when we send out an email, we'll probably just email all. It'll have everybody's email up there, and if you want to contact other members, you'll have their email address. So that will be public information. Your email address that you write down.
All right, guys.
Okay, so...
Just about the whole committee thing. Did you want to do that today? Or
I think it seems like we have a little time to. I don't know. Do we have any more names on the stack to speak?
I think we got everybody. Harold is on.
Chris, do you have any names on your stack?
No,
No, not all.
I would just like to mention as far as the committee, is kind of see what we all do agree on, because there's a lot of different kinds of political views being expressed by everyone that's here, and I feel like it would be good just for us to find our common ground, because, you know, what's going on in New York, you know, this is sympathetic to that, but we have different circumstances that we live in. You know, this is suburban, you know, California as opposed to urban East Coast. It's a totally different thing, and I feel like it might be a good idea for all of us to, and maybe we could do this on the Facebook, where we can all just kind of throw in why we're here and find like the general consensus as far as what we're really looking for.
Like
so we can have a more unified, approach to this. So instead we don't have like signs kind of canceling each other out, that we can, you know, speak with a kind of unified voice while still representing the greater views of everybody.
I like the Facebook idea because it keeps people in contact outside of the space right here.
Sure.
Well, people who aren't able to come here.
We're not abandoning Facebook. Yeah.
I did have one issue to bring up about the Facebook, however. The general rule has been as soon as somebody's added to the Occupy Temecula Facebook group, we turn them into an administrator so that they have power to go in and add people to the Facebook group and make it, and basically admin the Occupy Temecula group. There's going to be a problem with this. We are going to get a troll in there that's going to destroy the page. So we need to come up with a way where we can give everybody power to have administrative access, but not have somebody sneak in that's going to tear the page apart. So Well, the problem is we've been granting everybody administrative access the second they join the group. And maybe we need to have some kind of a trial period or find out who that person is.
Probationary period.
Probationary period.
We probably need a probationary period.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been trying to do that a little bit, and we did have a couple trolls that got already taken out. And so...
Perhaps maybe they would have to show up at one of the events before they get a moderator status, so that, you know, anyone could just click on a button, but it takes someone else to actually show up and hold a sign out on the side of the road.
Okay, great. So do we have consensus that no new members of the Occupy Temecula Facebook group will be granted admin privileges until they attend a GA and speak with one of the moderators, facilitators? Yeah. Okay.
Alright. If you put that out on your Facebook page, on your docs or whatever.
We'll make an announcement.
It'll be in the minutes of the meeting. Question?
Does admin privileges have the ability to delete documents and things like that?
Yeah.
Oh, I see. That's a problem.
And delete people out of the group.
Yeah.
And cancel the whole group.
Yeah.
And all kinds of things. Yeah.
Something we gotta watch out.
Well, but the problem is
everybody should have that power.
you need to have admin power to add people to the group too.
Yeah.
So if you're adding your friends to the group, you need to have the admin power.
Website, customize the administrator.
Yes.
Fantastic idea. OccupyTemecula.org was available the last time I checked.
Yes, it is.
One of the group needs to register it, and whoever has, capable of building a web page, we need a volunteer that can do that, that's willing to do that. I don't know, does anybody want to take charge of that right now? No? Okay, fantastic. And so OccupyTemecula.org, if you can get it, would be great. And also, there's going to be expense involved with that. There's expense involved with the sign making and with the water and all this stuff. At some point, we're probably going to have a finance committee or a treasurer or somebody that operates in those terms. We're going to need some donations, and we're going to need a group that administers that. So I guess that gets into the forming of the groups. But okay, so do we want to open the floor for discussion? Do we want to talk about groups? I don't think we can do everything today, right? What's our time like? 3:45.
I think we can come back next week.
Okay. There was a march scheduled at 4 o'clock through Old Town. I know it's hot. Anybody that wants to participate, that would be great. Anybody that wants to stay here and hold down the fort, that's fine also. We scheduled that for 15 minutes from now, which leaves us just about time to wrap things up and then get to it. I think we're gonna hold off on the forming of groups and stuff. Everybody keep in mind what kind of groups we're going to need, what kind of groups you want to participate in, and bring that to next week's GA, and we'll talk about forming groups at that point.
Do you have a question?
This is the spot, the home base right here.
We came to consensus earlier that this was too noisy a spot
For the GA.
for the
We're
GA.
going to be doing the GA.
No, but
for
they
the
are
partition. And we're going to be doing demonstrations here on the corner.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You guys think about occupying it down there yet?
It's definitely a possibility. I think that we need a critical mass of people that are willing to pitch their tent. I think the police are likely to be very unfriendly in Temecula, so it's going to take a certain level of commitment from the participants, maybe possibly a willingness to be arrested or face, angry police action. So I think down the road it's a possibility, but we need to be organized about the way we approach that.
So what would be, do you have any ideas of where the location might be?
This looks like a public park. I see some great places to
Is
spot
there some kind of
tents.
city hall type deal?
we marching?
Old Town.
Old Town.
Where we're marching initially.
To the City Hall in Old Town.
Actually, that's a good.
Okay, well, we'll
Yeah, we
check
should
it out.
march to the City Hall in Old Town.
Yeah.
Well,
And-
is that what we're doing, or where are we marching? Just
Yes,
down
well,
the street?
the plan was Old Town and City Hall's in Old Town, so let's go to City Hall.
Let's go to City Hall.
Question?
I know that they won't allow anybody to camp out here at the park.
Yeah.
They don't let anybody sleep in the parking lot. They don't let anybody sleep in the park.
I don't want
They're very subjective of where you can stay. I haven't checked into it, but I think a good place would be that big lawn right in front of the City Hall.
Okay.
Because it's not super busy over there, it's out of the way, and it's like on a big patch of grass right in view of City Hall.
Okay. Okay, great. So maybe we'll need an actual Occupy committee to start looking into that, and location and consequences and feasibility of all of this.
And grow our numbers too.
Yep. Yeah, and it would certainly help if we were a bigger unit. That would help us. Question?
I just want to make sure that we can stay for the march today, and I have to work all day next Saturday, but I'm with you.
Glad you're here. Thank you.
I'll be on Facebook, and I'll be, with all the ones I can that way.
Get a lot of. So, do we have anybody that wants to speak before we wrap things up and do the march here?
Right here.
I was just going to say, we had some big comments on some of the signs that we had done. We have an artist here. And so if anybody wants us to do a sign for you, we will. We're the RVers out of Ohoga. So, I don't know the best way.
Okay.
Or you still make an email, just you can pick an email, my email, whatever. You can publish that. I don't care.
Okay. You.
I'm Schneider.
Go on this Occupy Temecula
Okay.
Facebook group. Let everybody know and get your email.
Okay.
And also, hey, they're great signs.
I think whoever did those ones should be in charge of the art committee.
Yeah. We need to. We should have an art committee probably.
That's fine,
So
yeah.
maybe we should talk about that in next week's GA.
Okay, that's fine. That's perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, we can do
That
that.
sign right there is awesome.
Yeah, they did a great job.
If you have not given your email and still want to, the paper is up here.
Yeah, everybody please remember to write your email on the email sheet going around. Remember this will be a publicly published email maybe not published publicly on Facebook, but every member of the group will have this email address. So if you have a private email address that you don't want used for this purpose, don't write it on that list. Yeah, we'll put out emails and Facebook. Everything, we will try to do everything on both by email and by Facebook.
Hold on. A great place for our next General Assembly should be where that tree is over there. Like where the steps are.
We need to have enough shade for everybody.
Yeah, it'll be over there.
I think over in the parking lot underneath the gazebo thing would just
Oh yeah,
There's like picnic tables over there too.
yeah, that'd be better.
I'm not sure if the gazebo will be accessible, but maybe that should be our meeting spot, and if we just meet in the area around the gazebo for GA next week.
Even if there is a ton of shade over there too.
So it looks like we're wrapping things up. Does anybody else have anything they'd like to say to the group, or?
I have
Definitely.
Absolutely. If you want to promote, please do. Absolutely. Feel free to do all of that.
Or you could put just a computer printout sheet in your car window.
all of that.
Try to get the word out as much as possible. Try to get people to join the Facebook group. We have 57 members when I left this morning. Let's double it. Pardon?
Will you be sending out this week?
Yeah.
To everybody?
Yeah. Question?
I have a comment in regards to the march of those who are actually going to. I would think that we would probably need some ordinance, so we're not saying the same two things if we do agree to chant. As for people who are going to lead the chant or switch off, I just think that maybe, so we're not saying like the same two things or five things or whatever.
Yeah, definitely. Good idea.
Do you want to say the minutes and segment?
Sure.
might work good for that.
Yeah, that would be
Yeah, or we could. Somebody volunteered a megaphone last week. I didn't see it show up this week.
Do you need a permit for that?
I don't know, but we are gonna cross the permit gap when we get approached by people that enforce the permit thing.
I know.
Oh, it was you? Okay, so if we can have a megaphone, we can. If we can't, then we might have to do the human mic. Is everybody familiar with the human microphone?
Yes.
Okay. The human microphone has some good parts about it and some bad parts about it. The good thing is it gets everybody involved and really listening. The bad thing about it is it's slow. You can only say a few words and then the crowd has to repeat them. So if we throw any larger than this, probably we'll have to implement the human microphones if we are not allowed to have the megaphone. So maybe in next week's GA we'll start with it. I don't know how well everybody was able to hear our voices today. Yeah.
I think it'll be easier too when you get out right on the
Does anybody else have anything to say? Has everybody signed the email? Has everybody put their email down?
Not yet.
Chris, you're gonna march?
Just trying to find out which time this is. Okay, there we go.
Okay, so I think we're going to do a march in about 5 minutes. We'll march to Old Town. We got to make sure we stay on the sidewalks and follow the lights and the traffic, keep it safe.
I recommend that when we go down there that we use, once we turn left onto Front Street, that we use the right-hand side because there is an actual sidewalk to use. On the left side, there is no sidewalk up to Front Street.
Okay, so when we hit Front Street, we'll stay on the right-hand side where there's a sidewalk, and we'll march to City Hall. We'll march back. If you guys got a second wind, maybe we'll take it to Bank of America 1 block away. Okay. And everybody else signed their email, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's down here. Fantastic.
You need certificates?
Okay.
Are we done? Nice stop this time.
So if you're marching, meet in 5 minutes on the corner.
Can I see a pen?
Yeah. And everybody try to bring at least one person with you. Yeah, that's a great idea.
I'll make a flyer or something.
But I think that's what the whole point is about. That there's no... Yeah, everyone...
Is this officially over?
Yes.